are going to discuss writing skills from IAS examination point of view. So before that, I want to explain the importance of writing skills in IAS exam. I can say writing skills play a crucial part, play a very crucial part. And I want to explain why and how this is crucial. So here I want to explain what is a popular perception and what I think can be a new way of looking at things. I want to explain in terms of what is popular perception as opposed to my view. Okay. Let me explain popular perception. You know, we have 5 common subjects: GS 1, 2, 3, 4 and essay, and plus optional 2. Totally 7 papers. In each paper, some questions are being asked. Say around 20. Some 20 here, like this. These 20 questions can come from so many possibilities, so many possible questions. Out of so many possible questions in GS1, some questions come. So what the student wants to do is, he wants to prepare for many possible questions, then expecting a particular 20. That is, he wants to prepare for every question and he wants to be in a position to answer that question based on the reading he made on that particular question. So he wants to read so many things, a lot, targeting question by question to be in a position to answer any particular question. Okay. So he wants to be in a position to cover all possible questions. This, I think, says a popular perception, and I think this takes a lot of time, sometimes years. Okay. That is, looking at questions independently, trying to read something specific to the question takes years of preparation. I am suggesting an approach that takes less time and maybe a student can finish the examination within the first attempt. What is that approach? That approach is, have a overall view. You can call it an aerial view. Overall view of 5 plus 2, if 2 is social sciences. Overall view. And backed up by writing skills. Overall view backed up by writing skills. An overall view 5 plus 2 will take less time than any paper or all papers added. All papers added. That is, if you take some time for one paper, another time for paper 2, but preparing for 1 and 2 will take less time than preparing for 1 without any relationship with preparing for 2. So, the whole takes less time. Than parts. 7 takes less time than 7. That's my approach. Which means any specific question will be attempted through an overall perspective plus something related to that specific question. That is, some general component and something related to the specific question. In this approach, you can read less, but you should think more, relate across topics. Across topics. Okay. This is how you will write a better answer with limited reading. So it is like this. There is a question. This question should be answered with this. This is the answer. This answer, some of it will come from the information that you studied specific to the question. Some answer will come from some other thing. Some answer like this. That is, any question is answered with some information that you studied specific to that question, but a lot from other sources of information. It may be optional subjects, it may be other papers, or what you have read in general. Okay. It means working out interrelationship, writing in a proper way. Okay. So let me summarize that if you have two skills, overall clarity, writing skills. This will hugely reduce that time for preparation. Okay. So this is the importance. With less time you can complete. Let me explain what are the levels of writing skills. You can see the difference between an easy question and a difficult question is actually regarding the level of writing skill that is required. An easy question is the one where cut and paste is enough. Cut and paste will generate an answer. This is first level. Second, moderately difficult question. Moderately difficult question requires drawing information from different sources and integrating. The first doesn't require any writing skill, but the second does require writing skills. Drawing information from different sources. But there is a third level of challenge also. The third level deals with sheer generation. Generation almost out of nothing. Make an internal inward journey and then generate an answer and bring out. The first level of second level and this is the third level. If one is in a position to do the third level of answer, then I can say a huge part of your preparation is completed, maybe around 50%, or at least from 30% to 50%. You can say 30% to 50% of preparation is said to be completed if you have reached this kind of writing skills. Okay. So there are different levels which you should master. Then we have a question. For example, simultaneous election to the Lok Sabha and state assemblies will limit the amount of time and money spent in electioneering, but it will reduce the government's accountability to the people. Discuss. So question stated in words like this. Okay. What do you do first? First step, I think, is decode. Get the essence. In this question, simultaneous elections to the assemblies will limit the amount of time and money spent in electioneering, but it will reduce government's accountability. Basically saying, though time and money less, less time and money is good, but there is a problem. So this is decoding, and further decoding means democracy itself gets affected. Okay. So for example, in simultaneous elections, I think the proposal itself doesn't make much sense, because if a party loses no confidence motion, so does the government have to rule for the remaining 4 years? Suppose the no confidence motion is lost in first year. So definitely it affects accountability. If you are trying to impose a particular schedule in a parliamentary democracy, so it really doesn't make much sense. So first decode. Decoding means simplifying. Okay. Next, after decoding, the next step is think of what is your response to the question. Your response is not the same thing as thinking of what to write. First see what is it, what do you think of your response, what is your response to the question, not what you should write. And next, analyze your response. Why did I respond that way? Plus, minus, and how would others argue? This is a inward dialogue that you should carry, an internal conversation. You had a response, and imagine how people would oppose that response, how people would take it, and how you counter their arguments. So that's an inward conversation. And then you come to your conclusion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All this is an internal exercise. Decoding your response, analyzing the response, thinking about it, and finally your conclusion. This should go before you attempt the answer. It's only after thinking comes writing. And here you first work out, it's only after thinking you work out writing. You work out an outline. What is an outline? It consists of points and number of words. To a more important point, you give more number of words. This, I would say, is an outline. Okay. So after working out outline, then you start writing the answer. What do you start writing? Here I have one important tip, that is, I want you to say first as an introduction the essence of your answer and the direction of your answer. Through introduction, you should convey to the examiner, yes, I understood the question and this is how I am going to write. Many people start equate introduction with the story. It is not. Introduction should be the essence and the direction of your answer. So first para should be introduction. And in the second para, start the story. Details and things like this. And then paras 3, 4. Okay. Here, what is a para? Not many know what is a paragraph is. They make some sentences, and when they think they have made enough number of sentences, when it is large enough, they shift to another paragraph. It is not like that. A para should have unity, should have a theme. So, a theme is conveyed through a para. A point is conveyed, and next another point, another. And all these paras are connected. Para 1 has a theme, sentences within para 1 are connected, and para 2 connected to para 1, para 3, para 4, all connected. It's like a building a structure. What students usually do is, they don't construct a para, and paras are not related. They simply repeat the same thing again and again in first para, second para, third para. They don't build an answer. You should build an answer without repeating and in a connected way. How can points in a para be connected? The connection can be variety of connections are possible. For example, A led to B, B led to C, C led to D is one kind of unity. Events or logical structure connected like this, A to B, B to C, C to D. This is how a para unity may come. Sometimes para unity can be like the following or reasons. This can be. So it means you have to think in terms of what are the sentences in a para and how these sentences are connected to one unity, one unifying theme. That's para 1, para 2, para 3, para 4. And how all of them are connected to your answer. How all this is related to your introduction. This is how one should write. Okay. Here I want to make certain differences in terms of what is a popular perception versus how I view things. I notice that many institutes focus on points. Students have impression that more points means more marks. So what they seem to be insisting is that more and more points, and then they don't convey the point, they just throw a point. Student says that yes, I know, and because you are a knowledgeable person, you also know. I don't need to really explain. So you see, I know that point. That seem to be reminding that I know and you know. It's throwing points. Okay, more points and throwing points without explanation. My view is this. It is not more points, but what is the central theme of a question? What is the central theme? Not more number of points. Here there is one historian by name E.H. Carr. In his book What is History, makes a very interesting observation that is useful for examination writing. Carr says the student who gives 10 points about the causes of Russian Revolution can get a qualifying mark, but he cannot get a first class. But who should be given a first class? According to Carr, the one who has identified the central cause, the central theme, the most important reason why Russian Revolution took place, he should be given first class. So, identify the central theme. But it doesn't mean you should confine to central theme only. Add points. Add more dimensions. Sky is the limit in this examination. Ask questions and rise. More and more dimensions. But identify the central theme. And next, when you are giving points, how do you prioritize them? Okay, important one first, less important second, like this. Prioritization is important. So central theme, supplementary points, prioritization, which means the student should bring out the essence of his understanding when he is answering. Not simply throwing points, not simply plus and minus and asking the examiner make out for himself. So this is what I believe is. And of course, any how do you judge something as a good answer? I think from the examination point of view, with fewer words, or with less time, how do you convey more? That's how a question can be judged. How do you convey more with fewer words, with less time? Okay. Here, a good answer is the one which takes fewer words, less time, but conveys more. Okay. With less effort from the examiner and at the earliest, it should convey your best. For that, good introduction, which I discussed, but other things also, subheadings, underlining, flow charts, diagrams, they help. So this is my approach to writing. So let me summarize. I said writing skills are very important, and with an overall view and with writing skills, the examination becomes very, very simple. And this is how an answer should be written. But how do you develop these writing skills? How do you develop the writing skills? The most important thing one should do is notes making. Whatever one is studying, write points. That is one. And second, after writing the points, write summary of what you read. And here, one very important instruction is that you write that summary in your own words. It is when you are writing in your own words, do you know, you struggle to understand what you are studying better, because you have to say it in your own words. You may reread it, so it helps improve your understanding. And when you are writing your own words, because you are not copying, you have to develop your way of writing. So this is very, very important. And I would add that you should not confine to summarizing, but write your own questions where the author is inadequate or biased. So, points his views in your own words, but your own ideas and your question. And if you do this over a period of 1 year, I think it makes big difference to your writing ability. In fact, after some time, you will come to feel that you can write better than what you are reading. So you will develop your own style. In fact, the day you recognize you have your own style of presenting things, you will be really very, very happy. That is, then you will feel very confident. Okay, so this is a very, very important thing. As of now, you may be studying whatever you are studying with a pencil or a pen to underline, But from now onwards, not only you should do the underlining, but you should keep a notebook and then do these things. Points, summary, your own questions, like this. And your own questions gives you a perspective to read other things. This gives a set of questions, and with these questions in mind, you read other things. So you become better reader. Okay, apart from taking notes, you can also read some books. I think the best form of writing is going on in fiction. Though exam is on non-fiction, the best writing that will inspire you to write better is fiction. So I want you to read books related to fiction. So that is some kind of inspiration. So this you can develop over a period of time. So we'll take up some questions from last year GS papers. One question is, what are the salient features of inclusive growth? Has India been experiencing such a growth process? Analyze and suggest measures for inclusive growth. What are the salient features? Has India been experiencing? And suggest measures. So what does this question mean in our approach? Don't talk about or don't confine to only what you read under growth. Okay. You bring issue of health. Education. Agriculture. Progressive taxation. So don't confine to what is written under growth. Bring other things. So that is what is meant by bringing various other things to address one particular question. Another question. This is from GS1. Distinguish between religiousness, religiosity and communalism, giving one example of how the former got transformed into the latter in independent India. Religiosity to communalism. If you think you should read about it at some place and then you should write this answer, it's very difficult. You should be reading newspapers, you should have an understanding of what is communalism and what is religiosity, and use your overall understanding to write an answer. Religiosity and communalism. Religiosity is about giving importance to religion, maybe worshipping God, belief in religion, giving importance to religion. But communalism is different. It's about politics-religion interface, how religion is used. Ayodhya movement is one such thing, religiosity. Ramayana serial was there, promoted religiosity, encouraged some kind of revivalism, and then somebody used it for political purpose. Take that as an example. Okay. So if you don't have writing skills, you will know it only as an example, that's all, maximum. But to have writings, if you have writing skills, you will develop a story about what is this, what are the connections, and finally what to do. This flow you will not have without writing skills. So with writing skills, you just need to have a clue, and after that you will develop. Take for example one question in ethics, GS4. Discipline generally implies following order and subordination. Discipline generally implies order and subordination. However, it may be counterproductive for the organization. Discuss. Discipline brings order, but it can be counterproductive. What does it mean? What is the essence? What is the essence of it? That is how discipline can wreck an organization. What is it that one is talking about? Discipline sometimes means blindly following the superior, though superior is doing something against the goals of the organization or goals of the society of which organization is a part. So superior misses some important feedback from the subordinates. There is no check on the superior. So disobedience is very important. Non-conformity is very important. So once you identify that the discipline can be good, then you will link it to the studies on non-conformity, and then you will produce the literature. So you take an essence and then go to the corresponding literature and develop a story. Okay, you should be in a position to create a story and construct a story on one simple single idea. Next, again GS4. The crisis of ethical values in modern times is traced to a narrow perception of good life. See here, the crisis of ethical values in modern times is traced to a narrow perception of good life. Narrow perception of what might mean narrow perception of good life? Basically, he is referring to good life is seen as consumerist, rich, materially rich. So that consumerist life is taken as a good life, and so acquiring money and wealth at any cost, which is leading to the erosion of what is right and wrong. So develop that link and then the story. Okay, this I would say is the third level. The first is cut and paste, the second thing is interrelationship, and third is sheer generation. Of course, the highest generation that is needed, 2017 topic. Joy is the simplest form of gratitude. You have to write around 1000 words, taking around 1.5 hours on this. Joy is the simplest form of gratitude. How will you write? I would say if you are in a position to write and write well, I think you can think that you have developed the art of. You have the, I would say if you have, we can write this answer and write well, then you have developed the art of writing. Joy is the simplest form of gratitude. So here what is the link between gratitude, joy, form? This is another thing about essay. Essay consists of some words. What is important is you have to identify core words. What are the core words? And then link. And then essence. And then your response. And then start. Here, in what sense the word gratitude is used? I don't think that here the word gratitude is used in terms of a personal friend or a relative. It is about to have gratitude towards the entire existence, the nature, everything about you, that your health, your well-being. We take so many things and for granted we enjoy, and when we have a small complaints, we make a big issue. So why do we do that? Why do we take so much for granted and not be happy about it? And why do we make a big issue out of small things which we don't have? Why? Why this attitude? Ability to develop an essay on this. Okay. And another thing I want to tell you regarding essay is that essay is not a kind of a logical explanation of words. Essay is identification of a very productive theme in which your attitude towards life is revealed. So that is how you should be able to write. So that is very reflective essay, which may be more philosophical. But even if you take a very simpler one, take for example, farming has lost the ability to be a source of subsistence for majority of farmers in India. This is about agricultural crisis. How farming has lost the ability to be a source of livelihood. So in essay, of course the main topic is agriculture and suicides and livelihood issues. But then in essay, don't confine only to agriculture. Think in terms of why agriculture is neglected, the political economy, and how political economy is coming from this particular economic model. Neglect of rural India, industry-based economic model, like this. Link and link and link. Okay. Stretch, explore, give more dimensions, interlink. That is my understanding of the examination. So, when you are preparing for the examination, after you read a topic, see what are the previous questions. But remember, in the beginning, when you see the previous question, you will only know one or two main points. You will only know a part of that answer. But as you complete your preparation of not only that area but also other areas, you will get other parts that make it an answer. So in the beginning, you will know only this much, but later this much, like this. But to be able to bring from various sources and focus and write to the question, you may need to read little, but you have to understand a lot. Only then this kind of integration is possible. So writing skills is a kind of an integration of various pieces of information. Okay. So that's how I look at it. And now coming to our course on writing, but only through online tests. Grammar gives you ability to make error-free sentences, but I want you to write short sentences, simple words, and of course neat handwriting. We check this also. Simple sentences, short, online test. So this is the initial part. And second, giving passages and asking you to summarize these passages in your own words. And next, opinions, express. And then some stories, fiction. We want to give you assignments which are not related to IAS subjects, so that you will focus exclusively on writing style. And then after that, various kinds of challenges. So this I want to do it in around 10 classes, and after that we can have main stress series. So writing course will be the prerequisite for mains test series. In a mains test series, we will focus on a particular set of questions and do them thoroughly. So this is my approach. Thank you.